Kyle Larson said no to his crew chief. He said no to the president of Hendrick Motorsports. He had already accepted that he would not race the 65th Knoxville Nationals, and he had already handed the car to somebody else. Then Cliff Daniels came over the radio in the middle of a 400-lap race and refused to take no for an answer. Here is what happened after that. Kyle Larson crossed the finish line at Richmond Raceway at 10:17 p.m. Eastern, 6th in the Cookout 400. He bypassed every media obligation and ran from the number 5 Hendrick Motorsports Chevrolet to a waiting vehicle. At 10:57 p.m. Eastern, an aircraft carrying the tail number N501KL departed Richmond. At 12:55 a.m., he landed in Pella, Iowa at 1:15 a.m. He walked through the gate at Knoxville Raceway. He then started the 65th Knoxville Nationals from the pole position and led all 50 laps. The conflict that made this necessary was known a full year in advance. For 2026, the Knoxville Nationals shifted its date back by 1 week and landed directly on top of the Saturday night NASCAR Cup Series race at Richmond Raceway. When the schedules were released, the outcome looked settled. Kyle Larson had competed in every Knoxville Nationals since 2016, which was his third full-time season in the NASCAR Cup Series with Chip Ganassi Racing. In all of those years, his Cup schedule had never once collided with the Nationals. 2026 marked the first direct conflict in that entire stretch. The team made arrangements accordingly. Crew member Trevor Canales would climb into the Silva Motorsports number 57, start the A-main, and immediately park it. That arrangement was worth $15,000 to the team. There was precedent for it. Trevor Canales had done exactly the same thing for Rico Abreu in 2015 when NASCAR commitments kept Rico Abreu away from the Saturday finale. Kyle Larson publicly accepted the situation. Speaking to media on Friday, he said, "It's fine, it shouldn't revolve around me anyway." Understanding why he entered the event at all requires understanding the finances behind the number 57. The team owned by Paul Silva races only about a quarter as often as a full-time sprint car operation. Every event they can enter together is an event they intend to run. Kyle Larson has stated that he feels he owes Paul Silva and general mechanic Trevor Canales, one of his closest friends, every opportunity at a worthwhile payday. The numbers from that week explain the position clearly. Kyle Larson remained in Iowa after the previous Sunday's Cup event and banked $13. 000 winning the Capitani Classic at Knoxville Raceway that night. On Monday, he collected another $21,000 with a victory at Southern Iowa Speedway in the Front Row Challenge. His Thursday preliminary victory at Knoxville Raceway paid another $12,000. In total, Kyle Larson delivered $46,000 in race winnings to Paul Silva and his team in a single week, with the pending $15 Doe 00 start and park payment still to come. Speaking on Thursday, Kyle Larson laid out the reasoning directly. "This is what Paul does for a living, and Trevor. Like I said, anytime we get the chance to race, we try to." He added that the event pays a substantial amount both on preliminary night and for locking into the feature, and that it goes a long way for any team. That did not stop a debate from forming. The question raised was whether Kyle Larson should have been permitted to run the Nationals preliminaries at all, knowing that his NASCAR obligations were expected to keep him out of Saturday's finale. The argument existed largely among outsiders rather than among the competitors themselves. Two of the longest tenured reporters in sprint car racing took no issue with it. TJ Buffenbarger of TJSlideways.com pointed out that Paul Silva makes his living owning the number 57. Jeremy Elliott of SprintCarUnlimited.com called the idea that Kyle Larson was taking someone else's spot a nothing burger on his 90 at 9 morning show and added a plain assessment of the field. "Everybody competed on the same playing field, and the easy answer is to beat him," he said. That's an important point. Kyle Larson himself showed no interest in arguing the rule. Speaking on Wednesday, he said if they want to change the rule, that's totally fine. He added that his team did not care and that officials should do whatever they needed to do. Then there was the arithmetic. And the arithmetic did not work. Knoxville Raceway is a half-mile dirt oval. Richmond Raceway is a 3/4 mile short track. In the previous year's running, driver introductions at the Knoxville Nationals began shortly before 8:30 p.m. Central, with the checkered flag falling around 9:15. The Saturday NASCAR Cup Series race at Richmond Raceway was scheduled for a 7 p.m. Eastern start. The 2025 edition of that race lasted 3 hours and 11 minutes, which placed any realistic departure from Richmond somewhere after 10:00 p.m. Eastern before accounting for post-race logistics. A flight from Richmond to Knoxville takes roughly 2 to 2.5 hours. Even under the most optimistic timeline, Kyle Larson would not arrive until around midnight Central for him to make the A main. The Knoxville Nationals would need to be delayed several hours beyond its normal conclusion, not merely 1 or 2. Kyle Larson knew the size of the window. Speaking Wednesday, he noted there was a chance of afternoon rain and that anything could develop given the humidity, and said that with a few-hour delay, there was a window of time where he could get there. On Thursday, he put it more simply. "I'll be checking my weather app with my fingers crossed," he said. He also made clear he had come to terms with the alternative. "It doesn't kill me. I haven't lost sleep over it since knowing the schedule probably about a year now," he said, adding that he felt fortunate to have run the Knoxville Nationals for as long as he had without a conflict. Then the weather arrived. Severe late summer storms hit Knoxville and pushed the Saturday schedule back repeatedly. The disruption had started before that. Friday's Hard Knocks night had already been moved to Saturday, then shortened into an abbreviated afternoon version. Steady rain then delayed the Saturday championship program to a degree nobody had modeled. The total delay reached approximately 3 hours. The forecast had given no indication of this. When Kyle Larson climbed into the Cup car at Richmond Raceway, the projections showed roughly a 10% chance of rain at 6 p.m. He is described being disappointed for a moment, then turning his full attention to the Cup race in front of him. That Cup race began badly. Kyle Larson qualified 30th on Friday afternoon and started 30th. He fell laps down early at the 3/4-mile short track. Hendrick Motorsports confirmed that the number 5 overcame a deficit of 2 laps during the race. He finished Stage 1 in 25th position. He improved to 13th by the end of Stage 2, which earned him the free pass and returned him to the lead lap. The 6th place finish carried weight independent of anything happening in Iowa. It was his best result since Sonoma, arriving after a stretch of 4 finishes outside the top 30 in 5 races had dropped him 5 positions to 10th in the championship standings. The turning point came over the radio during a midway caution. Cliff Daniels told his driver what was happening 800 miles away. "Knoxville has not even started hot laps yet. Big delay for the race," he said. "Don't know if it's tomorrow yet. But they're way behind, just so you know." Kyle Larson answered with a single word, "Knoxville?" Cliff Daniels responded, "Yeah, we're working on plans for you." Kyle Larson replied, "Okay." After the race, Cliff Daniels explained how the plan was assembled. Jeff Andrews, the president of Hendrick Motorsports, was instrumental in laying out the logistics. Colby Gornievich, the public relations representative for Kyle Larson, handled communication with people on the ground in Knoxville. Cliff Daniels described his own position as preferring to have a plan in place that could be declined rather than having nothing prepared at all. He also described the resistance he met. "Kept telling me no, he kept telling Jeff Andrews no. But we were persistent because we knew that if we get him there, he can probably do something special," Cliff Daniels said. Once the trip became plausible, the Richmond race improved. Kyle Larson moved into the top 10 late and brought the number 5 home 6th. He described the moment the information reached him. "We were struggling but making improvements. And then all of a sudden, Cliff came on the radio and said there was a rain delay, and they hadn't started hot laps yet," he said. "Then I got a kickstart of emotion there. When the checkered flag fell, the operation started immediately. Kyle Larson parked on pit road, ran to the hauler, collected what he needed, took food and hydration from his team, and was rushed to Richmond International Airport, where a chartered plane was waiting. At 10:57 p.m. Eastern, N501KL lifted off and turned toward Pella, Iowa, the nearest airport to Knoxville. Within minutes, users began logging onto Flight Radar 24 to follow the route. The aircraft became the #1 tracked flight on the platform, topping the global aviation charts. Reported figures for the peak audience varied by outlet and by the hour, ranging from 7,705 users to over 16,000 people watching a single private aircraft cross from Virginia to Iowa in real time. Fans posted position updates continuously. The flight path was tracked in stages. At approximately midnight Eastern, N501KL was crossing Indiana. At 12:25 a.m., the aircraft was over central Illinois. At 12:55 a.m., it landed in Iowa. At the racetrack, the same thing was happening on a much larger screen. Knoxville Raceway placed the live flight tracker on its video board, and fans in the grandstands watched the aircraft close in during track preparation and hot laps. Journalist Matt Weaver posted from the venue, Knoxville Raceway just put pole sitter Kyle Larson's flight tracker on the big screen. He added that fans were going wild at the sprint car capital of the world. DIRT vision cameras filmed Kyle Larson coming off the tarmac in Iowa. A police escort was waiting to take him to the track. At approximately 1:15 a.m. Eastern, he walked through the gate at Knoxville Raceway. "This is pretty sick," he said on arrival. "I can't believe it's all working out. I didn't think I'd be here." He had missed hot laps entirely, but he arrived on the grounds before the 22-lap B main began. The 50-lap finale started with Kyle Larson on the pole and ended with him leading every single lap. The order behind him at the initial green flag was Sheldon Haudenschild, Kasey Kahne, James McFadden, and Buddy Kofoid. Kasey Kahne moved past Sheldon Haudenschild for the runner-up position on lap 2. Logan Schuchart took second from Kasey Kahne on lap 43, and Kasey Kahne returned the favor with 3 laps remaining. Kyle Larson reached lap traffic with 2 laps to go and pulled away for the win. The final top 5 read Kyle Larson, Sheldon Haudenschild, Kasey Kahne, James McFadden, and Logan Schuchart. David Gravel, Buddy Kofoid, Parker Price-Miller, Brent Marks, and Chase Dietz completed the top 10. In the support events, Darren Naito won the D main and Ryan Timms won the C main. Tyler Courtney won the 22-lap B main. Tanner Holmes advanced from 24th to 11th to earn hard charger honors. Darren Pittman recorded the hottest lap of the night, and Emerson Axum was named Rookie of the race. The financial total was substantial. The A main victory paid $200,000. Added to that were the $2,000 pole award from Sprint Car Unlimited. Calm and the $10,000 Jesse Hockett Mr. Sprint Car Award. Combined with his preliminary win, his total earnings for the week exceeded $212,000. The record book moved as well. This was a 4th Knoxville Nationals title for Kyle Larson, following 2021, 2023, and 2024. All 4 have come within the last 6 runnings of the event. That total ties him with Kenny Weld and Danny Lasowski for the 4th most in history. Doug Wolfgang is next on the list with 5. The win brought Kyle Larson to 16 overall victories at Knoxville Raceway, and it gave him 40 career wins with the World of Outlaws Nose Energy Drink Sprint Cars, making him the 22nd different driver to reach that mark. The week itself has almost no historical parallel. David Gravel, Steve Kinzer, and Brad Sweet are the only other drivers to win 3 times during Knoxville Nationals week. Steve Kinzer did it in 1981, Brad Sweet matched it in 2018, and David Gravel followed in 2019. According to historical records, no driver has ever won 4 times during Nationals week, even counting the Front Row Challenge at Southern Iowa Speedway, which debuted in 1996. Behind him, 2 drivers recorded career best results. Kasey Kahne, age 46, from Enumclaw, Washington, finished 3rd in his own Kasey Kahne Racing number 4, marking his best career finish in the Knoxville Nationals. "I got right to 2nd there, and I was trying to do all I could to keep up with Kyle," he said, adding that he knew he was in a very good position and was happy with his car. Sheldon Haudenschild from Wooster, Ohio, finished 2nd in the number 18 for KCP Racing, a personal best in the sport's biggest race and his 7th consecutive top 10 in it. He described following Casey Klein early while the leader pulled away and then stated his position plainly. "I'm glad Kyle got to make it back honestly. If I want to win this race, I want to beat Kyle and the best there is." In Victory Lane, Kyle Larson described the day. "It's extremely surreal," he said. He spoke about having no emotion in the preceding days, knowing he would not be able to race with only a glimmer of hope tied to the forecast. It's just wild how I'm here tonight. He credited the organization that had flown him there. I wouldn't have any Knoxville Nationals championships without Hendrick Motorsports.